Until 2 weeks ago, I didn't think it was true at all. But then it happened over here. And over there. And over there. Yeah, ants are actually eating my okra. And me. I'm gonna read you this. And it makes me feel better about the fact that I used to believe that ants wouldn't eat okra. In Texas, we don't have individual county extension offices. Everything goes through Texas A&M University. So from their website, we have, it was once thought that ants did not hurt okra production and were mainly visiting okra plants to get honeydew produced by sharpshooters, aphids, and other sucking insects. However, that was before the imported fire ant. Fire ants feed on the base of developing blooms before the bloom bud opens, causing them to abort. This will cause okra to stop producing. Locate the fire ant mounds, kill the mounds, or use bait around the outside of the garden area to kill the inconspicuous mounds. I don't feel so bad for believing that they weren't supposed to eat my okra, because they're not, but they are. I'm finding actually that not only are they eating the unopened buds, but I've had them eating the base of developed okra that was already, pretty good size. They were eating around like the ribs on it. That's all new fun. Started on one of the weaker plants, which absolutely makes sense because weaker plants are more prone to being attacked by anything and everything. And I was picking okra one day and all of a sudden my hand started to light up in pain and I looked down and it's covered in ants. And then it spread to another plant and another plant, and it's mostly on this side. You can see that the plants on this side are smaller than the ones back there. I'm not sure what's going on over here. I have a plan. I have a plan for it, so that's in progress. But I'm trying to make some of the plants stronger because the ones that are really healthy don't really have very many ants on them. I've found something that's working pretty well, not perfect, but pretty well. So I'm spraying them off with the jet setting on the hose, and I'll go down and I'll spray each plant, and then I'll come back and spray them all a second time because I've noticed that like the little flower bud, the ants will go down in the cracks when I spray, and then they'll come back out, and then I can get more of them on the second time around. I'm also using taro ant baits, and I'll show you how I put one in the ground. You just clip off the little end piece, and then it's a little spike, and you press it down into the ground. And here is one that is spent. They've already pulled all that bait. This is a borax bait. This is the kind of thing where they bring this bait back to their queen, so it's not like an immediate kill, but it gets rid of the queen, which gets rid of the colony, which is supposed to help. In addition to spraying them off with the hose and using the ant baits, I am also going to start using a soap solution, and I use Castile soap for that. So it's anywhere from 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon per quart of water, and then you spray it on and it kills the ants on contact. It's okay to leave the spray on the plants and on the okra. It won't hurt you if you're using a soap that is safe. But if you do want to rinse it off, you need to let it dry all the way first because it won't kill the ants if you wash it off when it's still wet, and it won't kill the ants when it's dry, so it doesn't matter if it's still there by the time it dries out. So if you want to rinse it, then give it a good amount of time, let it stay wet as long as it wants to stay wet so that it does everything it's supposed to do, and then you can go back and rinse your plants if you want. I'm not going to. Hey, by the way, if you are finding this content useful, if you could please hit that like and subscribe if you're not already, and share this with a friend who might need it. All those things help me to grow, and I really need that right now, so I would appreciate it very, very much. I'm also going to go back to doing a foliar spray. I haven't done it lately just because we've been so hot, but I think that because plant strength is one of the problems that I'm facing, that going back to the foliar spray will help. That and the soap spray will be things that I will do in the evening time. We might still be 100 at 8 p.m. That's how it's been going around here. But then at least it won't be the blaring sun on them on top of that. And then the one other thing that I'm gonna do is I've started chop and dropping the comfrey and throwing it over there by the weaker plants. And that way they have soil nutrition built into their mulch, and then it'll break down and work down through the soil, and they'll get nutrition from that. And that's a big help to your plants too, if you have comfrey on hand. Sorry, bee. And then I thought I would show you a couple of kinds of okra, when to harvest them, and some things that can go wrong. So give me a chance to finish picking these and I'll be right back with you. Yikes. Okay, I had to put myself in the shade. It's already like 98 with a real feel of 110. I have 4 different kinds of okra in this bowl, and I can tell you what 3 of them are. So I have Clemson Spineless, Jing Orange, Hill Country Red, and then I'm not sure what this one is. It's not Burgundy, and it's a name that reminds me of Alabama for some reason. I will figure it out before I post this video. How's that? Problems that can happen with your okra. I was talking about bugs eating the bottom of it. Okay, see how it's chewed on right there and right here? This is what they do when the fire ants are getting onto the okra itself after the whole flower situation. This is what happens with the aborted blooms. Okay, there we go. So see how they ate it when it was in the flower? So that's what the A&M website was talking about it aborting the fruit because it got damaged. Hold on, I have more fun for you. So if you find okra that's doing this, it's bending or it's curving. A couple of years ago, I had one that grew in a little snail shell. This is stink bug damage. And they bite one side of it and it injects whatever they inject. It's okay for you to eat it. And then this side stops growing and this side keeps growing, so it makes that curve. So let's talk about when to harvest. Oh, here's another stink bug thing. On the not burgundy and on the Jing Orange, this is an okay length. Any of your okra, if you can squeeze it and it gives a little, it's still okay to eat. If it's not okay to eat, this one is at the end of being okay to eat. So listen up. Hear that sound? That means that it's too old. Oh, that's a pretty hawk. Glad the chickens aren't out. I'm giving all the too old ones to the chickens. They like to eat the seeds inside, so that's always cool. On those red kinds, like between this and this is usually okay. About as long as my hand. This is 6 inches from my wrist crease to the end of my middle finger. So 4 to 6 inches. On the Hill Country, this one's a little bit too far, but I'm gonna fry these. I'll talk to you about that in a second. This is about right on the Hill Country. I like them for frying because they make good bite-sized pieces, you know? If you're doing Clemson, this size is good for roasting, but it's also very small. It's like 2 to 3 inches. I usually pick my Clemson closer to this. What do I do with my okra, aside from feed it to chickens? I have a whole lot of okra inside in the fridge. You can get a zip top bag, perforate it with a knife real good to preserve them. I go the ultra not healthy route. I fry them up. I usually fry like at least double what I can eat in a sitting, or what I should eat in a sitting, 2 to 3 times what I could eat. Once I'm finished eating and I'm cleaning up, I spread out the extra okra on like a baking sheet or something like that, put it into the freezer, freeze them on a single layer, and then I put them all into a non-perforated zip top bag in the freezer, and then I can just pull them out, stick them in an iron skillet in a hot oven for like 10 or 15 minutes. So good. I realized that I could also pickle them and do a number of other things, but fried okra, it's just too good to not do it, right? So I'm gonna. That's what you do about ants on your okra, and yes, it is true, they will actually eat your okra, despite what we always thought, but now you know what to do. This is the video that YouTube thinks you need to watch next, so go ahead and check that one out, and I will see you soon. Later, y'all. This is the video that YouTube thinks